Welcome to Halloween Year Round. I'm Dave. I'm joined by my lovely fiancée Jess. And today we are going to talk about red rum. Red rum.
The Shining.
Red rum! Red rum! Red rum! Red rum! Yes, today we are going to talk about The Shining, my favorite horror movie ever made, with The Exorcist at a very close second. And the reason is because today is actually the 40th anniversary when The Shining first came out in theaters, all the way back in 1980.
I don't like it that much. I might get some hatred for it, but I don't like it. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
You realize...
Yeah, he goes crazy at the end, but he was already crazy at the beginning.
You realize we can't be together if you don't like The Shining.
Well, I guess that's a sacrifice I'm gonna have to make.
Wow. I kid, but obviously The Shining, it's seen as a classic today, but at the time that it first came out, it really wasn't. It was even nominated for 2 Razzies. So, we thought it would be fun today, on the 40th anniversary, to go back and look at some of those original reviews and see what they said and see how we feel about it now, 40 years later. Review number 1. The Shining lays open to view all the devices of horror and suspense. Endless eerie music, odd camera angles, a soundtrack of interminably pounding heart, hatchets, and hunts. The result is shallow, self-conscious, and dull. Read the book. I think the first thing I want to address with this review, he ends on read the book, and I think, to be fair, if you were a fan of the book and you went to see this movie, you probably weren't happy.
That happens a lot with people. I hear people complain all the time, oh, this movie's not as good, like about several movies. It's not as good as the book, read the book has more details, or what have you.
I've been one of those people.
I live with him.
But I think that it... See, I'm in a weird position, and I think it really does depend on whether you read the book first or saw the movie first. I saw this movie the first time when I was 14, absolutely loved it.
Okay.
And then I didn't read the book for almost another 10 years.
Oh.
So to me, the book and the movie are completely different entities that are both great in their own way. But I think what Mr. Missiano's review here is getting at is that, you know, it was a very stylistic movie, and I think he feels that there was no substance to it, which I have to disagree with, because I feel like, now again, my favorite horror movie ever, I feel like that was the point of it. The point of the movie was meant to unnerve, unsettle, on a subconscious level.
But it doesn't even do that.
It is! Everything from the weird sets that don't make sense, to the subliminal stuff. And I think what this critic is getting at is he's pointing that out, but I think he's saying that it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's a good thing. So for this review, how do you feel? You're gonna give it a thumbs up? I'm gonna give it a big thumbs down. I disagree completely. Review number 2. Again and again, the movie leads us to expect something, almost promises it, and then disappoints us. It sounds like what she's getting at is she felt that it built up and built up for something big, and then she felt like it never happened. To which I say, did she watch the final act? When Jack gets the axe and Wendy knocks him out and the ghosts help him escape the pantry? Did she not see any of that? It did deliver.
That's cool and all, but it's like, after all that suspense, the blood coming out of the elevator several times, you see it, all the suspense leading up to room 237, and then it's just a big chase?
It's not just a big chase, though. It's not, because remember when Wendy's running around the hotel, and it's as if the hotel itself is waking up, and she peers into all the rooms and sees really disturbing things happening in each room?
Yeah,
It was like
Still.
the hotel had been waiting for months, even
Then it
years,
should have been bigger.
for this to happen.
Then it should have been bigger. Kubrick should have made something bigger at the end, not just a chase and a couple weird sceneries.
So on Pauline Kael's review, do you agree?
Huge thumbs up, guys.
Huge thumbs down. I get the sense that we're not going to agree on any of this.
Thumbs up.
And that's okay. There are moments so visually stunning only a Kubrick could pull them off. Yet the film is too grandiose to be the jolter that horror pictures are expected to be. Both those expecting significance from Kubrick and those merely looking for a good scare may be equally disappointed. And I'd also like to point out the title of his review was The Shining, A Freudian Picnic, which is the most film critic-y thing that any film critic has ever done in the history of film critics.
Yeah.
I see where he's getting at, that you had kind of a dichotomy. You had these diehard horror fans that were used to seeing things like The Exorcist, The Omen, Rosemary's Baby. And then you had Kubrick fans who were fans of his previous work, Clockwork Orange, 2001, Dr. Strangelove, the list goes on. To Kevin's credit here, it is true that The Shining is kind of a weird blending of the two. It's not quite like other horror movies, but it's also not quite the art house movie that Kubrick was known for doing either.
Maybe that was his mistake, trying to fuse the two of those things together.
I don't know that I would call that a mistake, though. It is a very unconventional movie. It doesn't play out like anything else. You know, it's very hypnotic. It's very subliminal. By the time they get to and Jack going insane, you feel like you've been stuck in that hotel for months too. Which some people would take that as a criticism, saying that, oh, well, it feels like this movie's going on forever. I see it as a compliment because you're meant to feel like you were stuck in there for months. I think that's exactly what Kubrick wanted. I can kind of see where he's coming from. I don't agree that it's a bad thing, but I do get what this critic is saying. So I'm going to give it a this. I'm going to go maybe kind of, I agree. How about you?
Me too.
We agree on one.
We agree.
Our final review comes from my man Gene Siskel. A crashing disappointment. The biggest surprise is that it contains virtually no thrills. Given Kubrick's world-class reputation, one's immediate reaction is that maybe he was after something other than thrills in the film. If so, it's hard to figure out what.
He's right. There are no thrills in this movie.
Because it's not... I think Siskel, like a lot of other critics, like a lot of audiences at the time, I think they went into this movie in 1980 expecting something conventional, and it wasn't. Kubrick, they went in expecting to watch a football game, and Kubrick gave them the spelling bee contest. It was so unlike what anyone was expecting that I can understand feeling that way, but I do think maybe they were too harsh to jump on the bandwagon to judge it by those conventional standards, you know. And Siskel hints at something really interesting, which I actually completely agree with him on.
What's that?
Kubrick wasn't going for thrills. I don't think he was at all. I don't think...
How is it scary?
When I say thrills, I mean I don't think Kubrick was going for a movie that was going to jump out and scare you, or that was going to make you quake with fear in your theater seat back in 1980. I think Kubrick was going for something deeper. Kubrick was going for the type of movie that when you watched it, you were still thinking about it a week later. Something that a lot of contemporary art house horror movies have also done brilliantly. Movies that are equally divisive, like The Witch, The Lighthouse, Hereditary, Midsummer, and people either love it or hate it. So I get where Siskel's coming from if you're judging it by that perspective. Stephen King, he hated this movie. Now, to be fair to King, I can understand him not liking it because this was his work. And I can understand, as a writer myself, him watching someone adapt his work and completely miss the point that he was trying to make. According to King, Kubrick set out to make a movie that harms people.
Really?
And I don't disagree with him. I think he set out to make a movie that was harsh and brutal.
But it didn't unsettle me.
And what would have unsettled you?
If it had to do with paranormal activity.
There were ghosts there.
Yeah, but they weren't really doing anything. They were serving him alcohol.
They were getting him to murder his family.
No, he went crazy on his own. He
Because
was already crazy from the beginning of the movie.
He wasn't coming in trying to chop everybody up from day one. But you tell me what other actor could have pulled off those end scenes with him.
Nicolas Cage.
If you put Nicolas Cage in this movie, the universe would have exploded. Just too much intensity. I actually really kind of want to see that.
See? I told you.
Just out of curiosity. Anyways, that was The Shining, our reviews of the reviews. If any of you like, in the comments, please review our reviews of the reviews. And then if you want, reply to them with your own review of the review of our reviews of the reviews. Alright, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications or whatever that does. If you don't, my friend Edgar here will be perched above your chamber door chanting nevermore until you die.
It's true.
It is. You can also check out our website, HalloweenYearRound.com, where I do lots of written articles and reviews, all horror-related, and you can follow us on Twitter. So, until we see you again, remember, every day
is Halloween.